All right, next question up says, I hope all's well. I'm officially 1 week out from my first meet, my first USAPL meet on Sunday. Would you be able to help me figure out my first, second, and if possible, third attempts for the squat, bench, deadlift based on my numbers? I'm not sure how you typically handle the taper week, but I usually do openers exactly 1 week out. And then from there, I do 3 sets of 3 at 50 to 60% on all the competition lists for 2 sessions before the meet day. Also, in regard to my question, my Wilks is 355. Anyway, so I want to get to your question. So first, the taper. Generally, our tapers include an opener day, and that tends to be 5 to 6 days out. So it's not much different from what you're used to in that sense. And then there's another training session that typically only has people going through warm-ups, which is going to be a bit heavier than 50 to 60%, but it's going to be a little less volume than 3 sets of 3 as well. So somewhere in the middle, we're not far off from what you're used to, it sounds like. Now, in terms of selecting your attempts, where I would start is to look at the competition progress page on your training log and look at those estimated 1RMs and see what your best data point is. Now, your best data point is going to be your heaviest exposure in the last 1 to 2 weeks. Hopefully you've had a session where there's a double at 90% or something even heavier than that. I think almost all training strategies do have that, so I would look for it. And that's going to be a really good data point for you, because that's going to kind of validate what your target weight is for that for the meet. Okay, so from there, using that estimated 1RM, that's going to kind of establish your third attempt goals. Now, what I would like for you to do is to look at the overall trend. If you've got a nice line and 1 week kind of logically leads into the next, then you can take that estimated 1RM and just run with it. Now, if you're all over the place and the line is very erratic, then you may need to average your best 2 or 3 data points to come up with that estimated 1RM target. Now, that's not the 2 or 3 highest numbers, but your best data points. So your best data points are the ones that come from the highest rep and RPE pairings in your training. So like a double at a 9 is a really good data point. A single at an 8 is a good data point. Things like that. You can average those 2 together. Now, once you have your goal, your third attempt goal weight, the rest is pretty easy. Your opener is going to be 90% of that goal weight. Your second attempt is going to be between 94 and 96% of that goal weight. And then your third attempt is going to be whatever's left on the day. So the way that will work in practice is that you'll call for your opener, which is 90%, and you'll take that. If it moves like an opener should, then you're going to go to 96. And if that moves like a second attempt should, then you'll go to the goal weight. Now, if your opener moves slower than it should, then you'll be more toward the 94% range. If your second attempt moves slower than it should, then you'll reduce the weight from your goal weight to take whatever's there. Remember, your goal at the meet is to total as much as you possibly can. So putting the goal weight on the bar when you know it's not there is not a smart choice. It's not a smart call. So call for something that you think is at the limit, but you think you can get it. Okay, so that's your third attempt. The goal weight just kind of gives us something to aim at. It's the same as a goal weight in training. It gives us something to aim at. We work up toward it, and if everything's going normal or better, then we should get it. But we just want to have some flexibility in case things are going not normal. Some people get really affected by weight cuts. Some people get really affected by meat nerves and things like that. So there's always unexpected things that can happen, and that's why we want to retain that flexibility.